Hello, everybody, it's me, Roscoe, and welcome to the latest episode of the Kings of Anglia Transfer Files, the show where we look and break down Town's latest signing. And today we're discussing a Japanese superstar, Daizen Maeda, who signs from Celtic. I'm here with AJ, as standard. We've covered all the signings so far. I think Emerson was the first one we did with Stu, but since we've basically made loads of signings, AJ's been the man. How are you, my friend? And Japanese superstar joins Town.
Yeah, I feel like I've been head first into all the transfers while Stu's been off, which has been good fun. And this being the latest one, and to be honest, it's obviously the one that probably comes with a level of unknown for reasons that we'll get onto. He might not be as experienced and reliable as, say, an Issa Diop or something like that. But this is probably the most excited I'm feeling about any of the signings so far. This is the one that's really got me going. I'll talk about that and about maybe some of the trepidations that come with it. But Daizen Maeda arrives at Ipswich Town, 8 million, which I think is a really good deal. That's the initial fee with 2 million in add-on. So it's basically a £10 million package deal to bring him to Portman Road from Celtic. It's been his dream to play in the Premier League. He gets to fulfill it. He's had a glittering spell in Scotland, having built up his career really nicely in Japan. A fantastic backstory. And this is one with all the characteristics and all the strengths and the traits that he can bring. I'm really excited to see how that could translate into English football.
Yeah, really excited about this one because we've never had a Japanese player. We've not had many Asian players, really. You know, obviously, we lost Al Kambaga, who went to Millwall. Yeah. We lost the Indonesian fans, but now we've got the Japanese fans jumping on, which is going to be exciting. I'm sure there's a few Japanese fans potentially watching this, interested to see our thoughts on Daizen Maeda. And yeah, he's had an incredible sort of journey, hasn't he, AJ? He's done a great profile piece on him. Born in Japan, and of course he's had to do what a lot of players had to do, go through the youth ranks and stuff. And I'm sure there is that ideal situation to sort of move away, go to Europe, and maybe the dream is to play in the Premier League. Of course, there's been a few Japanese players who have played in the Premier League. There still is a few. Obviously, Crystal Palace has got a player. Leeds United's got a player. Arsenal, of course, had Tamiyasu. Most recently, I think Southampton had one of the most famous ones in recent times, back in the 2000s. Forgot his name now, so sorry about that. That's maybe a piece for the future. Me looking at Japanese stars in the Premier League with Daizen Maeda signing. But AJ, you've done sort of your normal thing, delved deep into his career and life so far. Let us know a little bit that we may not know.
Yeah, I think that Daizen Maeda's background's really interesting because a lot of Japanese players, probably especially in the modern era, seem to be kind of like prodigy players. They're picked up at a young age, they're developed at a really young age, and then you see them come through academies. The one that stands out to me the most is Kubo, who came through at Barcelona's academy, now plays at Real Sociedad. And Daizen Maeda didn't do that. I mean, he's born in Osaka, kind of grew up in this small city to the south called Taishi. There's a nice bit I found out. His name kind of comes from the Japanese word Daishizen, which means great nature, which I liked with the fact that it ties into the fact that Taishi, where he's from, is this kind of small, green, rural town on the outskirts. And his upbringing was very unique. He when he was literally 2 years old, was getting woken up by his mum. This is a story she told in an interview, getting woken up at 5 a.m. to go and climb Mount Nijo before taking him to nursery school. They'd go to the top and they'd eat rice balls at the summit and come back down. And I think that kind of started him on a path of very strict health and fitness kind of route. When you look at, he had a go at gymnastics. His parents were both kind of vets, and his father was in gymnastics. He didn't really like that and ended up going into football instead. But again, wasn't kind of coming through major academies. He was playing it at college when he was away in school. He chose a school on purpose that was miles, 100 kilometers away, just because they had the best record in football. And actually, when he was playing there, he, by his own admission, kind of said, I was only thinking about myself. And he broke disciplinary rules and was banned for 12 months. So what did he do? He takes himself away. He goes running barefoot in the mountains. He gets up to make bread for a bakery at 5:30 every morning. He tidied up his school before lessons. He went and trained with the local adult team. And there's a fantastic quote, which I think sums up how he reinvented himself at that age. I learned I couldn't do anything on my own. I learned the importance of running for the team. And running is the big point with Daizen Maeda. went from college to join this J2 league, so second tier team called Matsumoto Yamaga. While he was playing there, actually got his first Japan call up for the Copa America. They were playing in that one, weirdly, in Brazil. Got his first call up then, and he took some time to settle into it. But what people found when he was there and when he had that loan spell in Portugal, when he was at Maritimo, didn't get too many minutes there, is basically he's really fast and he can run at an incredible speed with remarkable stamina. So the full 90 minutes, he doesn't run out of steam. And that is the one thing that people really caught on to. So it looked very raw. People described it as kind of chaotic, but got harnessed really well when he moved to Yokohama and was managed by Kevin Muscat, someone who English fans will know quite a lot about for sure, has a bit of a reputation within the English game, and then, of course, gets his move to Celtic. There's not too much that needs to be said about the spell at Celtic. You look at what he's won: 5 league titles, 3 Scottish Cups, 2 Scottish League Cups, scored 30 times in the last 2 seasons in the Scottish Premiership alone. 24-25 was a fantastic campaign for him. Gave Rangers fans nightmares with the performances he had against them, and he's been one of the, if not the top player in Scottish football recently. So he's at a stage where he wants to try something new. He has kind of expressed a desire to move on from Celtic, and I've heard that there was a move to Wolfsburg that fell through last summer with some kind of late shifting that meant that didn't happen. He'd actually cleared out his locker at Celtic, which meant that kind of didn't materialise, and I think it was Adam Ida's move to Swansea that saw that collapse. So he stayed for another year, but he's got 12 months left on his Celtic contract. Michael O'Neill has already stressed that he's going to move on, and Ipswich have come in and got the deal agreed, and it's a fascinating story. It's how I hope we get the chance to talk to him at some point. I know his English isn't the strongest point, but what a unique, fascinating background. It's like one of those things you could see being turned into a movie, to be honest.
Oh, great stuff there, AJ. And as you were sort of talking to the viewers, I was listening, of course, but I was just quickly double checking. The Southampton player I was thinking of is defender Maya Yoshida.
Yes.
In the 2010s. And also Matoma. How did buddy forget Matoma at Brighton?
Matoma, they've got another one, of course, at Southampton. Yes. Sugawara, still there. Yes. Shunsuke Nakamura, obviously a famous one, although that was up in Scotland. I don't think he ever came down to play in England, did he? But various different exciting Japanese players, and especially those that play in the Premier League that transition. They can kind of, I think, with their personalities and how they are, they can become these kind of cult figures like he did. And there were a lot of Japanese players at Celtic under Ange Postecoglou. Quite a few have moved on now. It looks like a bit of a different squad under O'Neill. But I'm really fascinated to see and how he gets on, and I expect there's every chance that he can win over the Ipswich fans very, very quickly.
Definitely. Another player, Endo, of course, who was
of course, yeah. Was linked to Ipswich briefly for some reason. That last Premier League season was a bit odd, but yeah.
Yeah, so watch your space, Joe. I probably am going to put together sort of Japanese players who play in the Premier League, inspired by Town's latest signing, the first Japanese player to feature for Ipswich Town, AJ. Just talk about him as a player, because, from what I hear, all energy. We jokingly said, and I said in our group chat, he's probably going to be the Japanese Connor Chaplin, who just loves football. And with highlight reels and some of the goals he scored, he just works his butt off because he just wants the ball. He wants to, run for his team.
He's relentless. I mean, his speed is frightening. That's one of the biggest things to say, and I think that will suit an Ipswich team that lacked speed last year for sure. I think that was something that they could have had more of within the team, especially when Wes Burns was out. So having that for a team that's going to be low possession, trying to strike on the counter, work on transitions, etc., that's going to be really important. But that is the main thing, and it's the fact that he's not a 50, 60-minute player. He's run himself into the ground, time to bring him off. He can sustain it. He can sustain it over full matches. And it's not just a case of the fact that he's done it Scottish Premiership level, and there's a discussion to be had around that, but he's also gone and done it at Champions League level. He was impressive in that game that they played against Bayern Munich, for example. There have been talks about him going for significantly more to a kind of a really top European club, and obviously that hasn't happened. But you can see that he's got all of these really unique traits that not many players have, and it's certainly something that I think would suit a newly promoted side. Who, as I said, might not have too much of the ball, will be looking to strike on counters. as I think Ipswich might be under O'Neill. He likes to stay quite narrow. He can play across the forward line. He's played up front quite a bit, but he predominantly plays off the left. But he kind of likes that inside forward role. So I'd imagine that will be the role that he'll take if Ipswich go to a back five, as I expect they might. So it doesn't kind of collide with Leif Davis. There are some aspects for him to improve. Some aspects he can't improve in that he's 5'8", so he's not going to go and bully any centre-backs anytime soon in the Premier League, who are probably near enough to a foot taller than him. Kjell Skirpen, who we believe is on the way, is a foot taller than more than a foot taller.
He's a goalie. So,
well, he's a goalie, yeah, but still, that's quite a remarkable little bit there. And his finishing's kind of been hit and miss. It's improved for sure, but we've seen bits and pieces. Sometimes his decision making, I think he got a bit of criticism for the World Cup game against Brazil, but he's been a vital cog for Japan at international level. In 2 World Cup campaigns now, he's scored 3 World Cup goals against Spain, Sweden, and Croatia as well. And obviously for Celtic, everything as mentioned.
Yes, so because just like Diop, dearie me, he of course scored the World Cup as well. So we've signed 2 players who scored at the most recent World Cup, which is fantastic. And of course, Fatu, who played for Ghana at the World Cup, including against England as well. I like this signing. Something a bit different. The recruitment team going very different. I know that's what Gary O'Neill said in his press conference, didn't he? I think didn't he say a Brazilian? Of course, he signed Emerson, and then he's now gone and signed different players in that sort of way. But AJ, you alluded to it a minute ago about him playing Scottish football and how players are able to adapt to the Premier League, going down south, as they say. A lot of Celtic fans feel this is an opportunity for him to sort of prove himself in the Premier League, and there's always that he scored like 100 goals in Scotland, but Premier League is a whole different animal. What do you reckon? Do you think he can take that? He's probably not. He's not going to score the amount of goals he scored for Celtic because he's playing against smaller teams. But to the Premier League, it's the best league in the world, best defenders in the world. But you can still bring that quality to the top flight.
Yeah, 20 goal contributions last year. I think that if he's a regular starter and he can get somewhere near to 10 goal contributions, around half of that in the Premier League, say 6 goals, 4 assists, I think that'd be a really sharp return for a player who has never played at this level before, never played with this kind of intensity before. So it's a bit, there's different narratives that come to it. There are some Celtic fans who say, wow, he's gone to a team who've just been promoted and are probably, odds on to get relegated. That feels like a poor move for one of the best players we've had in recent history. On the flip side, as you say, the transition isn't always the easiest, and I don't think you can kind of disregard Scottish football. It's not a terrible league by any means, and it is similar to. I think you can get bought into it because it's literally up over the border, and we all kind of have an idea of what's going on in Scotland in Scottish football. If I said to you about what happened with Hearts last year, falling just short, you would know exactly about that because we all kind of follow it. And I guess that's where the intrigue around Maeda comes, and the fact he's played in the Champions League and stuff like that. But it's kind of the same to signing someone from the Netherlands, to signing someone from Belgium, signing someone from Portugal. And you always then have to have that idea that it is going to be harder. The big example, and it's a very different position, but is obviously Kyogo, who signed another Japanese striker who left Celtic to go to Rennes and then joined Birmingham from Rennes. And he was just couldn't adapt to it, couldn't settle in English football, now gone off to join LA Galaxy. So that's obviously how things can go on one side, but I think that he's very much a poacher who needed to have the goals put on the plate for him in a dominant side like Celtic. Whereas I think that with Daizen Maeda, you've got someone who's going to work their socks off, run his heart out for the team, and that is what's going to be the difference maker in whether he's going to be successful or not in English football. I think that there's every chance that he comes in and maybe doesn't have the goal return that people expect. Maybe he doesn't hit double digits in goal contributions or something like that. But I think he can still win over fans with his effort. That's kind of a point that Celtic fans have said so many times. He'd get into the final third, he'd get a great chance, and he'd blaze it over. And you'd think, oh, no, not again. But you'd be reeled right back in and right back chasing him, because as soon as the ball's then back in play, he's right at it, going winning it back again. So if he can do that, obviously we want the goals and we want the assists, but I think one of the biggest aspects is going to be how he represents the club and the effort, the work rate, the running, and all of those aspects that he can put in while wearing a blue shirt.
And if you haven't already watched it, I'm sure you have, because as you know, like a lot of people, you watch the highlight reel straight away when a player's linked. But if you haven't seen his goal against Rangers, the overhead kick, unbelievable! What a moment!
He's had a lot. I mean, that is probably my favourite. He scored within 30 seconds against them before. He scored against them in cup finals. I mean, look, it's a strong goal record. His debut, he scored inside, what was it, 40 odd seconds against Hibernian. No, sorry, not that. It's 4 minutes. 4 minutes against Hibernian, 30 seconds against Rangers. Yeah, he was levels above Scottish football, and with that in mind, you would hope that will transfer him at least into a really solid Premier League player, especially for a fee that is only just scraping into double digits with add-ons.
Yeah, I hope he can make that step up, because I think he will become a cult hero. And my hot take, we haven't had a debut goal scorer for a while. I'd like to see him score his debut. That would be good. I don't know if he will start against Sunderland. If he doesn't, then that means he'd have to come off the bench and maybe score the winner. Or
back in it early.
So that is my hot take. But AJ, I know you're excited about this one as well. You know, you've got family who are in Japan. And we're going to have the Japanese market journalists, I'm sure, coming to cover Ipswich Town games. That just adds it to us as well.
Already had some emails as well from Japanese journalists about him, which has been really
welcome.
nice.
Welcome. It's going to be great, because we've obviously Brazilian fans, Ghana fans, Japanese fans now, and we're linked to other players. You know, say Dutch. We've had that Dutch connection anyway.
Morocco
it's just
now.
exciting for us. Yes, very much so. So it's exciting times, and I'm sure there'll be many more signings. AJ, any other business? Anything else we should mention? What do you reckon position-wise is next? I know as we record this, obviously that big Dutch goalkeeper Sherpen is close to signing, but that's another goalkeeper then. What do you reckon's next? We've signed a defender, a winger, two wingers technically, a striker. Midfielder is one that we're looking at. Of course, we were close to having two Japanese stars, but unfortunately, he's gone to Hull instead. Yeah,
Morita off to Hull. I understand there's probably been a bit of a medical issue there that's meant Ipswich didn't want to progress with that, but midfield's the big area for me. I think they're going to need at least two into midfield. I'd want to see a left-sided centre-back. I want to see some Davis cover. I want a right wing back, and you might want someone else in the forward line, potentially. Definitely another striker would be one that you'd want to see with a bit more experience. The priority area for me at the moment has to be midfield. I think Ipswich looking a little bit light there at the moment. I'm hoping we're going to have a bit of movement in that regard. Clearly with Morita, they're feeling that is an area they want to, because they obviously had talks with him and he'd been down for some medical checks. But yeah, that is the area that I'd want to see bolstered next for sure.
All right, exciting times, ladies and gentlemen. And pre-season, of course, has started. And yeah, let us know your thoughts, your feelings in the comments down below on Town's latest signing. I'm sure there could be a few Japanese fans watching, so hello, konnichiwa, and all that. I know you like that, AJ. And we'll see you in the next Kings of Anglia transfer files. We've had plenty of these recently. I'm sure there's going to be many more to come. And unfortunately as well, I'm sure there can be some departures. So get ready for us to discuss some departures at Town. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.